Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have a secant line with limits numerically. Now, what we need to do is we need to make sure that we're using our math brains to read our math notation. So for example, the function, this function right here, is graphed below. Yay, okay. Determine the slope. So as soon as you hear the word slope, of course, it's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Of the secant line, what is the secant line? The one that goes through and touches it twice. For each of the intervals indicated, find the slope of the secant line f on the interval from bracket 3, comma 3 plus h. Ladies and gentlemen, 3 comma 3 plus h is not a point. If it were a point, it would have parentheses on the end. But instead, this is an interval from 3 to 3 plus h. Now, what is h? Well, let's take a look in the table. For each value of h shown in the table, write your answer. So, for example, if h is 1, then what we need to do is we need to say that 3 is the first number, the first x, because it says from 3 to 3 plus h. So if h is 1, then 3 plus 1 is 4. So there's 3, there's 4. Now all I have to do, once I have x1 and I have x2, I need to find y1 and y2. All right, well, how in the world do I find y1 and y2 if I know x1 and x2? Well, let's see here. Let's plug it into x squared minus 2x minus 6. So if I plug in those values, I have 3, plug it in, I get negative 3. If I plug 4 in, I get 2. And then I find the slope, and the answer there is 5. And so I would say 5. Now, if the h is 0.1, that means that I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take 3 comma something and 3 comma 3.1. I'm sorry, 3.1 comma something, because I have x1 and I have x2. So I need to find this and I need to find that. Now, just to double check that I found it right the first time, that is x squared minus 2x minus 6. Okay. And so at x squared minus 2x minus 6, I go to my calculator. And easy peasy lemon squeezy, we have this guy right here. And so I come up with 3 squared minus 2 times 3 minus 6. Answer is yes, negative 3. So if I have that, but now let's do it again with 3.1. So second insert 0.1, second insert 0.1. And so now I have it all plugged in and I come up with negative 2.59. So I have negative 3 here, I have negative 2.59, and I do the slope. And so I say negative 2.59 minus negative 3 all over 3.1 minus 3. Well, obviously on the bottom it's going to be 0.1. On the top it's going to be negative 0.41. So I simply say negative 0.41 divide by 0.1. Answer is negative 4.1. And so I would come back over here to my computer and say, hey guys, I would say negative 4.1. And plug it in. Now, by the way, did I get that one right? No, that needs to be positive. Excuse me. Positive 4.1. There we go. And so on and so forth. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you are not entirely sure, could you go to show solution? Sure you can. So again, they show the slope. They show the 3 and the 3 plus h. But what is h? H is 1. So what did they do? They plugged in 3 plus 1, which is 4. They plugged it all in, got a value, minus the plugged in 3. What is 4 minus 3? That's 1. The answer is 5. And so here we go. We take this and we say, hey, 3 plus 0.01, or 0.1, excuse me, minus f of 3. Plug it in and they get 4.1, yada, yada, yada. And they get exactly this. In fact, that's it. You just work it on down. Well, what do you notice about this slope? Oh, 5, 4.1, 4.01, 4.001. What is the slope approaching as the tangent line gets closer and closer and closer to the actual given value of 3? The answer is the slope is getting closer to 4. Ladies and gentlemen, this is nothing but Algebra 1. You got to read the directions. You got to work carefully through the vocabulary, and you have to pay attention to notation. It's important that you're able to read math, not just be able to do math. So what you need to do is make sure that on Delta Math, you are reading the questions, looking at the show solution. Don't be afraid to give me an email. That's not a problem, but also understand that I'm probably not going to answer those questions in class. You're going to have to deal with them on your time, not necessarily in class. Now, there's some questions we'll take and there's a little time we'll take, but this is the same exact stuff we were talking about in class. So I don't feel real bad if we're having trouble using the definition of slope. So with that, guys, I will see you later.